How to make $10,000 in commissions selling final expense over the phone. You're going to hear a day in the life, really a week in the life of a dig agency agent and how he does exactly that. We're going to walk you through his script, his work ethic, what systems, what tools he uses so that you, the newer or experienced agent, knows exactly step-by-step what to do in order to aspire to this level of business written. My name is David Duford. I'm the owner of Duford Insurance Group. We help agents across the nation sell final expense over the phone or face-to-face. If you'd like to learn more, go to davidduford.com/FAQ. And again, I'm here with Julian, and Julian's been working with me for about a year or so and has really been taken off here recently selling final expense over the phone. And we're going to do a deep dive into what he does to sell $10,000 plus in commissionable commission. So Julian, tell us a little bit about yourself. Nice to see you.
What's going on, Dave? Nice to see you as well, my friend. Yeah, man, just, you know the story. You were there for pretty much the whole thing. And obviously I got, came from face-to-face, jumped into telesales. We've dabbled around in the lead business a little bit. And so here we are. I'm writing business full time, and the plan is basically to just keep this thing growing, right? Write more business, continue to grow as a producer and help other producers grow. So we offer free information like that on our YouTube channel and everything. And you guys can find us. We're Advanced Agent Marketing. That's just to, we do live dial videos all the time, but with the production and everything, should I just, break down the week, or how would you like me to kind of structure that, David?
So I think that's probably the most urgent question. People are like, well, how do you make this kind of money selling burial insurance? So why don't you kind of take us wherever you'd like to as far as your activity, the leads, et cetera, and then I'll jump in and ask you some other questions too.
Sure. Yeah. I'll kind of tell you guys the downs of the week so you can see what, because I like to look at what everybody talks about. Oh, I made all this money, I did all this stuff. They talk about the highlights, but there's thousands of pieces of rejection you face before you get the wins. And so I'll talk a little more about the wins in a moment, but I think the most important thing is to realize I had 2 0 days, didn't work on Sunday. So 3 0 days, 3 0 days in the week, and not for lack of working either. The 2 0 days, I worked my butt off. On average, I usually make between 200 to 300 phone calls a day, depending on how much talk time I have. I think on Friday last week, I wrote like $3,000 on one call, but that was a 2.5 hour call. So it just depends on how long I'm on the phone, but I'm usually running through an application anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes, call to close, start to finish, the whole phone call, cool down and everything. So I'm very fast, very efficient, but I usually make between 200 and 300 phone calls a day. And the name of the game for me is I don't reward the commission or the outcome. I just reward the behavior. So I made 300 phone calls today. That was a successful day. Obviously, if I make money, that's great, but I don't reward that, because if I do, then I'm looking for the wrong behaviors. So my behaviors are just to make phone calls until TCPA tells me I can't, or until somebody buys. That's pretty much how I roll. And that was kind of the week. I think I started Monday with a 0. I think Tuesday I only did about 1,000 in premium or something. And then after that, I had another 0 Wednesday. So I really had to jump it up towards the end of the week there, but I wrote about, I think it was 4,500 in one day. That was on Saturday. Right. And then the other days kind of made up for the rest of the production there. So it was there was one day that was 1,000, one day that was 700. And then the other 2 days where I wrote businesses where everything kind of piled up, and I just hit that commissionable business.
So behavior goals. So qualify that a little bit more. Most of us think about, hey, I want to make X amount of dollars. You're looking at it as activity. So what's your activity goal per day, if we can talk about that?
Yeah, I do this for every aspect of life. I reward myself off of activities. I'm not going to lose 10 pounds in 20 minutes, but I can go to the gym. I'm not going to make $2 million in one day, but I can make 300 phone calls. And so my activity goals are typically to aim for about 300 phone calls. Usually I want to get off at least 4 quotes a day minimum. I've found that I'm closing somewhere in the neighborhood of about, I think it's about 90% of the people I'm quoting, roughly. Good. So if I get numbers off, we're doing a deal usually. So I'm trying to get to numbers from them answering the phone. So my activity goals are just about 300 phone calls a day, Usually I'll get about 20 to 22 answers. Most of them hang up, and then I'll get about 4 to 6 quotes. That's where I'm making my business and getting my deals. And I've noticed that if I don't hit those markers, usually that's where everything's falling off. So if I only got 10 answers, no quotes, that's where my problem is. I just need to call more to get each statistic higher.
How long does it take to dial 300 different people?
I think it froze for a second. What was that?
I'm sorry. How long does it take to dial for 300 people?
So I use a dialing system called Kixie, and it jumped my answer rate up from 1.4% to almost 11%.
Wow.
And so, yeah, that took me from like 500 plus dials a day down to like 300 dials a day. How long does it take me? That's including talk time for a work day. If I didn't include talk time and it was just 300 dials straight, nobody answered, I mean, probably like 3 hours or 3 to 4 hours, depending on if I have to use the bathroom or something. But like with talk time, that's usually like roughly the whole workday. Quote
8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours.
I usually call from, because I also run advanced agent marketing, so I have a whole other business I'm running, but I usually dial from like 8:30 or 9 until like 6 to 7:30, just depending on whether or not I'm in an app and the day of the week.
Right. So it's a solid 10 hours easy. I mean, maybe more some days. So I think that's important for you guys that are thinking about doing telesales. Like you have to have talk time. And you have to have the time allowable to put in the dials like what Julian's doing, because if if you're only putting in 5 hours a day, it could be nothing, and that's very frustrating. So very good there. Why final expense? You're selling final expense over the phone. Why not sell IULs or term insurance? What's the reason you've chosen final expense?
Well, there's a couple. First and foremost, I'd say it's probably the most recession proof. Everyone's getting buried. And the less money that you have to spend, the more you're going to need to get it. Right. So that's kind of a plus. It's almost backwards. Like usually you want to, if you have more money to spend, you can get more, or like you're more likely to purchase. But with this, or I think I said that backwards, but you're more likely to purchase this if you have less money than if you have more money, because it obviously pays for the funeral, which is, in my opinion, awesome, because that means I can sell into the economy. That's the most important thing to me. The demand's always there. People are always dying. And I also know it very well. I've been doing it for a while, so I know it very well. And I also see that there's a lot of opportunity in the senior market. So, I mean, it's easy to recruit to, right? I'm not trying to recruit to somebody who's selling widgets and there's only 20 people who want widgets. So it works out really well, just supply and demand, really.
How about your leads? You got a unique lead setup. Can you explain that, please?
Yeah, so I'm using the Julians branded leads. Now, I am biased. My company, Advanced Agent Marketing, does provide these for me, so I do have that luxury. But I'm just like any other agent. I dial the leads, and there's nothing like, they're not like, I had one guy ask me, are you only calling the buyers? No, I'm calling everyone just like you. And the leads, they are branded, so that is cool, right? Everyone understands it's about insurance. It costs money. They have to talk to someone to get a quote. So there is a lot of like foreshadowing into the sales conversation. There's automations and things that go out. So it's not just like, I'm not just calling no automation. Like I'm not calling like old school. I do have a lot of other irons in the fire that are working for me in helping close these deals. Shout out to my business partner, Tim. He's been essential in helping me get these deals and putting this all together. But yeah, I'm working the Julians branded leads that we provide in-house here at Advanced Agent Marketing.
Cool. Talk us through your script. What does the opening of your telesales script sound like?
Yeah. Okay. So I got this from Jordan Belfort. This is actually probably the most passionate thing I could share with you right now. So I'm like all into sales stuff. I love Grant Cardone. Basically, dial until they buy or die. Just call, like beat it up. If you're not calling, you're going broke. Like I love dialing and I love just getting focused and doing the hard work. But I take a lot from Grant Cardone and I take a lot from Jordan Belfort. So I start with, hey, is David there?
No. Yeah. Hey, what's up?
Yeah. Hey, David, it's just Julian. I have that form that you sent us here at Julians, and it looks like you were asking for some information here on life insurance programs in Tennessee. Does that ring a bell?
Geez. I slept since yesterday.
Okay, gotcha. No worries. Let me see, make sure I got everything right here. It seems like your birthday was listed here as 12/3/1948. Is that correct?
Yep, that's me. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. And so just to make sure I know what I'm even going over here with you, David, has anyone ever talked to you about this before? Or is this your first time applying?
I've sent some cards off in the mail in the past, but no, I've never applied for coverage. No. Mm-mm.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, I'll be helping you with everything here today, David. And it looks like when you filled this out, you listed your kids as your beneficiary. Is that who you'd be leaving this to?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay, gotcha. And so I guess, whenever you filled this out, what exactly was it that you were concerned about?
I didn't want to die and be a burden to my son. I didn't want him to have to come out of pocket to, put me into the ground.
Gotcha. So you were basically just making sure that, your son wouldn't have to pay any bills and that you could cover the cost of a burial. Is that correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. And so I guess, is there anything else that you were looking to cover? Or was it just the burial?
That's it. Just keep it simple.
Okay. Perfect. All right. And so then I'll just kind of go, hey, I got to go over some health questions with you real quick. But my whole introduction is just basically, first of all, hey, is David there? I always try to sound friendly. So they're like, who the hell is calling me? Do I know you? And then I always pretend that they know me. Like, David, it's just Julian. Just get back to you.
Right.
Or I'm just calling you back. Right. I'll say something like that as if they hit me up. And so then I'll go through everything. And then I will spend quite a bit of time on the beneficiary, why they're doing it. And then I'm always, you notice I'm saying the whole time is like, I'm looking for more. Is this your first time applying? I'm already telling them.
Yeah.
I'm already laying down these breadcrumbs. Hey, is this your first time applying? And then I ask him, oh, is this, have you ever talked about this before? And then, what exactly are you concerned about? Oh, I wanted to cover the XYZ. And I'm like, okay, gotcha. So did you want to do that or did you want to do more? Right? Did you want to do more behind? So I'm always priming myself. I'm sure you've noticed I have some solid, sizable apps, always looking for the upsell. And I'm always looking to help them get more coverage. That way they're because we got to account for inflation here. So that's kind of how I explain it. And
sure. Right.
Pretty much have questions after that.
So as a sales trainer myself, my question is, where's the rapport building? Usually in the beginning of sales presentations, there's like, where'd you grow up at? Where do you live? Blah, 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 all that stuff. Right. Yeah. I noticed you get right to business, which I like. Why is that? Why is there not any of that kind of typical rapport building in the beginning?
It's funny you say that. So I have like this theory on rapport. You don't have to agree. I know everybody has their own style. But I have this idea or this theory that rapport is crap. And so the reason why I say that, and we could probably put that in the thumbnail, rapport is crap. Like what? But the whole reason that I'm so against rapport is because I'm a salesperson. And if somebody calls me, let's say from Spectrum, I just got Wi-Fi today. Hey man, it's Tim from Spectrum, just calling you to, you know what, man, how's your day going? I'm like, dude, let's just get this done. My day is great. Let's move on. Like, let's go. I'm a business guy. I'm fast. Let's run it. I live in a bigger city now. So it's like everything's fast paced. And so now with the way that I do my sales script, I can build rapport. I don't have any problem doing that. But the rapport is built on the back end. Because if I build my rapport with, let's say I get 22 people on the phone, and let's say that I spend 10 minutes building rapport with all 22 people. Over the course of the day, that's 220 minutes. If you break down 220 minutes day by day over the course of the year, I end up losing more time than I'm earning in dollars based off of me spending time with prospects that aren't qualified or are unwilling to purchase. On the flip side, with me doing no rapport on the front end, I find out off the bat whether or not they're ready to move forward just about. And so I'm already letting them know, hey, we're going to go ahead and apply, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, I'm not applying today. Perfect. David, I was actually just getting back to you on this just to see what you qualify for. Okay. I'm just going to go over this with you real quick and we'll see if this would even make sense. Right. I'm just telling them straight, hey, let's go. Now, when we get later into the conversation, then that's when I start to build my rapport after we've kind of gotten we're getting to quotes. I'm like, hey, my quarter takes a little while to pull up. While I'm pulling that up here for you, David, catch me up here. It looks like, you're getting into insurance. Have you ever heard about the difference between term and whole life? And then I talk about agents and brokers, take an educational approach. They'll throw a comment here and there. And so I have this formula that I use. It's like connect, expand, contract. It's a terrible acronym. But basically the way that I do is like, let's say that you told me, I don't know, what's a pastime you enjoy?
Jiu-jitsu.
So, oh, gotcha. So you said you do jiu-jitsu. David, is that right? I mean, how long have you been doing that for?
5 years.
Gotcha. I've only been doing it for about once. I'm a three-stripe white belt. You'd probably
cool.
mats, but
cool. Good. Keep it up, man. That's good for you.
Thanks, man. Thanks. So yeah, it was let me see here, and I'll just go right back to business. Okay, yeah, let me see. I got these quotes for you. And so I'll do like a little bit of it's kind of like a dance, like a two-step with anything that they give me to connect on, but I'm never gonna make a move to build rapport where like, hey, how's your grandkids or any of that. I don't
Gotcha. What type of pushback do you hear in the beginning of the call? A lot of agents complain that people ask, is this about life insurance? Is this I already got life insurance, I'm busy. What are some of your tactics you use to overcome that initial resistance?
Yeah, so I'm like unusually straightforward. I know a lot of people say final expense, burial insurance program, state regulated. I'm very straightforward. I'll just say, hey, David, I'm just calling you about that life insurance that you're asking for more information on. So right here, and I'll tell you a little bit more about my close in a few moments, because I always ask for objections. So when they tell me, oh, no, I never filled anything out. Perfect, David. I'm actually just getting back to you because the form that we had says that you wanted to leave this to your kids. Have you ever talked about this before? I just completely ignore it. And if they're like, oh, I already have insurance. Perfect. So you were just looking to add something. Is that correct? Or if they're like, can you call me later? It actually only takes 5 minutes. And so I just always, let's do it now. Let's do it now. Let's do it now. The only objections that I really get are typically is I can't talk now. Trying to think of another one that pops up a lot in the front end of the call. Probably like, oh yeah, is it $1? Is it only $1 a day?
Yeah.
Or sometimes because they're getting other calls, they fill out other forms. They might be like, hey, I thought we already had a conversation about this.
Yeah, right.
I don't really get any of the other free or any of any of that stuff because all of our marketing like tells them it costs money. So that doesn't really become a problem. Sometimes they'll just hang up. They'll just like, hey, this is fully up. Click. They probably just think that somebody already called them. So I just call them back and, it's not a big deal.
How about the close? What kind of objections do you hear? How do you overcome it?
Same objections as everyone else. Price. Got to talk to somebody else. Can't do it right now because of the budget. So I've compartmentalized objections into 3 core spots, if you will. So there's circumstances, that's where they're blaming other things. I can't because of my budget, Social Security, the news, blah, 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 we're all going to die, whatever. Others, hey, my husband, my business partner, my dog, my cat, my friend, I can't do it because I have to talk to them. And then myself. Myself is, I need to think about it. I can't do it right now. I'm busy, blah, 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 whatever. And so when I categorize it those ways, it makes it really easy for me to attack each objection as it comes through because I already understand what I need to say based off what category they're in. So if they say circumstances, I need to figure out what's wrong with the circumstances and help them solve it. Hey, I can't do it right now because Social Security is tight. That's exactly why you should do it right now, David, because this money's not going up and these rates are. So if we lock it in now, we can reduce the price. We can look at less coverage. What if we looked at $8,000 for $60 a month? Do you want to go ahead and knock that out now? Very simple. Now, these don't usually come until after my close attempt, in which I'll ask them typically, David, is there any reason why we shouldn't go ahead and do this right now? Is there any reason why we shouldn't move forward today? Is there any reason why we shouldn't go ahead and apply? Because then they give me the reason. Oh, yeah, no, I need to talk to my husband. Perfect. What do you think your husband wouldn't like about this plan? The price. Perfect. Let's drop the price. And whatever it is, they'll always tell me. And then the other one, I need to think about it, et cetera, et cetera. I've been doing this new thing I learned from Jeremy Miner. I'll set the appointment. Yeah, of course. Let's get back together. Would you want to do later today or sometime tomorrow? What gives you enough time? Set the appointment. And as soon as I set the appointment, I'll just go back and nail the objection in the back end. Hey, and David, just so I know what to send over to you, that way you actually have something to think about. What specifically were you concerned about? Was it the pricing of the program or was it how the program works? Both. Great. Let me re-explain it. I got you here now. And then I'll just go in, ask for the order again, and usually it's a done deal.
Do you get much Social Security or banking draft objections? If so, how do you handle those?
This is actually my favorite. So I've always tied an ask to a benefit. I'm never going to ask for something with a reason for why I'm asking. I'm just going to do it with a benefit tied to it. Hey, David, just to make sure this pays out to the right, Sheila DeFord, I'm going to need your social. I'm ready for that whenever you are.
Okay. Yeah.
It's tied to paying out to somebody or banking, for example. I do like an ask with something in return. Hey, David, just so we can get everything set up here for you. Who'd you say that you banked with? Wells Fargo. Great. All right, David, let me see. And you signed up with them in Texas, right? Yep. Great. So your routing number for Texas and Wells Fargo is going to be, I'll give them the routing number. Did you want me to repeat that so you can write it down? Now they're like, holy shit, because most people don't know that's public information. Then I'll just say, perfect. Now that I've got your routing number populated, all I need is your account number, and I'm ready for that whenever you are, David.
Right. Perfect.
That destroys those objections. If it does come up, I'll use Patriot Act for banking. And we got to pay out to the right family and verify your identity with social. And then sometimes I think I've had one lady since I've started calling in the last month and a half that just wouldn't give it to me. And she said she was going to call the carrier. But that was,
sure. Right.
Yeah. Other than that, I haven't had a problem with it.
Right. I remember this one time, I'm not advocating this, but people would say, okay, if you won't give me your social, I can take your Medicare card number. It's a social, isn't it? It used to be. I don't know if it is anymore.
Not anymore. Okay. But yeah.
That's old school. Right. So
but yeah, that's kind of what I've been seeing out there. And this is coming from somebody who is face-to-face. I was doing lower numbers face-to-face. I think last month I finished out like over 31K for the month. Good. I'm pretty sure. And the one thing that I've kind of picked up that I would say would be most helpful for new agents and for experienced agents is that you want to get issue paid business on the spot. This is something I picked up recently. Yeah. I issue paid almost $7,000 on the spot last week, all on the spot. Hey, let's pay it right now. Let's pay it right now. And that's great because now their first payment's done.
Right.
I'm not going to get charged back on month one. I've got a 11/12 chargeback coming if anything happens, and they're more likely to keep it if they've already made that first commitment. So it's very that's something that changed the way that I've been doing things, and it's been working really well for me. That I figured I would, because it really helped a lot.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that's unusual in this business. It's usually buy now, pay later, but if you can get it, it can't do anything other than help, I would think.
Yeah. It's crazy too, because I always have done buy now, pay later with lower premiums, and I'm selling higher than I've ever sold. It's sticking more than it's ever stuck. And I'm also getting them to pay on the spot. I'm selling, 180, 200 a month. I mean, you've seen them popping up 180, 200 a month. There's popping up out of nowhere. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, hey dude, let's just go ahead and pay it now. You don't want to wait to get covered, do you? And they're like, well, no. Cool. Let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah. And actually, I'm not surprised. The people who usually have the money and can do it are the higher premium payers. The small ones, the broke ones are the ones that are, no, I can't do that. I got to buy my cigarettes and booze,
Had a $30 a month or bounce the other day, and she was post dated. I was like, oh my gosh, here we go again.
That's how it is. Easy come, easy go. Anything else you want to hit on, Julian, here? I think we covered most of the fundamentals here. And that was the goal for you guys at the home, at home watching this is, let's talk fundamentals. We put the time in, the time on task, the activity numbers. That's so important to get right. Basic opening and closings, how Julian handles it. I mean, Julian's not doing anything different, guys, except putting in the time that it requires and sticking to a script that works. That's the discipline that really separates the winners from the losers in this business.
Yeah. And I think if I could share one thing, this is something I picked up
the other day.
This is like, if you're newer to business and sales in general, or if you just want to be successful and you're just watching a David Duford video, this is one of the best things I've ever heard. It was from Patrick Bet David. He started and exited PHP, owns Valuetainment. He's an animal in the industry. And he said that he learned young as a young man. He said, I learned from a mentor that if you want to be successful in business and you want to beat everybody else, instead of waiting 20, 30, 40 years, etc., to retire, you can do it in 5 to 10 if you live 3 days in one. And the only way to do that is to pack your schedule so tightly and to do so much activity in a short time frame that you're able to get ahead of people faster because you're doing more in less time. So if you're making, and this is another one I heard, I think this was Grant Cardone. He says, if you want to do if you want to be better than everyone else, if they say to make 100 phone calls, make 300. If they say to make 200, make 600. And whatever it is, multiply it, do more than everyone else. And if you show up, I promise you guys, I work 6 days a week. I work every single day, all day. And the one thing I will tell you is that I've gotten a lot further ahead of my peers in a very short amount of time, just staying consistent. Now, do what you can do. Don't burn yourself out. Do whatever you can do. But if 10-hour days, 5 days a week is you, that's fine, whatever it is. But if you can stay consistent and outperform everyone over a longer time horizon and withstand more rejection and pain, quote unquote, than everyone else, you're if you don't win, you should quit, but you will win. So you won't have to quit.
That's what I've noticed too with new agents. The difference really isn't some sort of like elite level technique. It's the ability to stay focused on task for a long period of time. And that's, I tell people who are young, getting started in any business, I had to give away my 20s to have the life I have now in my 30s, and yeah, I had to not do things and not vacation for many years. And I worked long hours like you did, but where I'm at now is just immeasurably better than I would have been if I worked 40 hours a week. You know what I mean? And that's how you overcome a lot of and get ahead. And if you don't put the time in, the odds are stacked against you. There's just no easy way. There's no tricks or shortcuts. It's just staying on task long term. So, and how old are you, Julian?
I'm only 23. I just turned.
It's good you're figuring that stuff out now too. And well, congratulations on the production. I appreciate your business too. And then if agents want to reach out to you, where do they go?
Best place to find me is if you want to get me on Facebook, you can find me in Insurance Agent Freedom, the Facebook group. We just give away free information, free value. David's in there. And then on our YouTube channel, Advanced Agent Marketing, we just post a lot of content on things to help agents, softwares, videos on sales, doing a lot of one-call close videos these days. So if you want to watch me do live sales calls and just see how I execute the script in real time, we also do breakdowns there as well. I think we'll do one with David in the future. But yeah, you guys can hit me up on Advanced Agent Marketing YouTube or at the Insurance Agent Freedom Facebook group.
Julian, thank you for being here.
Dave, thank you. It's always a pleasure, man.